When you sniff, it blows my eardrums out.
Nose.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? How does everybody get their week started on a good note? I hope they did. I am here, as you can see. I have Katherine Lance with me tonight. We are doing a video together. She mentioned it to me something about almost a week ago about doing a video on guilt and shame. It's a huge, huge part of active addiction. It's a huge, huge part of recovery. And I believe in my heart and soul that it's a huge part in life, whether we struggle with addiction or not. So as you can see, we have Katherine with me. We're going to do this video together. Please do me a favor, guys, while everybody's filing in here. Do us a favor. Let's get this video out there. Share this out to all your groups, family members, friends. Please, when you come over here on this page, you guys are going to be supported. You're going to be encouraged. And when you come over here, and especially I got Katherine, she's like-minded, just like me. You're going to get a whole lot of love over here. I promise. Tonight's going to be a good one. Do me a favor, guys, and let's get this one out there. Let me get some shout outs. Joseph, what's going on, little brother?
Hey, Joseph.
Joy Shu, what's going on? I love you. Steph Kemp, Karsten, what's going on, brother? Lori Massengale, good to see you here as well. Who am I missing? Let me scroll back. Rosanna, good to see you. Katherine Lance, good to see you on here as well. Love you.
I love you too.
Carrie Hoffman, good to see you. Love you. Let's see here. Am I missing some people here? Aaron O'Neill, good to see you. Elizabeth Ann, Connie Rice. Nice to see you guys here tonight. You guys, it's Monday. You made it through Monday. Everybody hates Monday. Katherine, do you hate Mondays?
No, I don't like Tuesdays.
I think Tuesdays are worse too. I don't know what it is. Monday's a breeze. It's just Tuesday. Yeah. I think Tuesday's the second Monday.
Yeah, it's like worse than the second Monday. Tuesday's horrible. I feel like it's like a standstill. My 8-hour shift is like 16 hours. It just
as much as we disagree, this is one of the first times we agree. I agree with you. Mark that date down. Today's date is what? February 4th? 3rd? 4th? 3rd? Mark the date down. We agreed on something.
It's a
miracle.
Epic event.
Yes, it is. What's going on? Brittany Garrett, I love you. Good to see you on here. Amber Goings, good to see you. I love you. Amanda Carmody. Joseph's laughing because he knows that's true.
Because he knows it's true.
Hey, Debbie. Elaine Weaver, there she is. Love Elaine.
I love Elaine too.
Max Nace, what's going on, brother? What's going on, Max Nace? I love my brother, Max Nace. And Max, I had an amazing time today. You know what I'm talking about. And give me a call tomorrow morning, brother. We're gonna shoot the. I don't want to cuss. I'm trying to get better on that. I really am. I'm really truly working on that.
Well, progress, not perfection.
I know. Crystal Alvarado, good to see you on here, sister. Love you. Let's see here. Got some announcements here. I got a couple announcements this week, guys. I will be getting on an airplane on Friday, flying down to Colorado, and going down to Trinidad, Colorado, which is like right there on the border of New Mexico, Colorado. Go down there and carry a message to all those beautiful people in that surrounding area. I got a lot of my family, followers, Facebook calls them, but I call you family, who are in that area, who are going to be there showing up and finally meeting me in person for the first time. I look forward to that. Anytime I get a chance to see you guys in real life, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. Real life people. With real life struggles, making it through real life adversities together, because we do this together. We fight this fight together each and every day that we wake up, and so any chance I get to meet you guys in real life, I absolutely love it to death. Ricky Lyles, what's going on, my friend?
Dawn, my cousin's on here. How
cute. Cousin. Who's your cousin?
Their name is Tiffany and Michael.
Tiffany and Michael. Which one is it? Tiffany?
Yeah.
Tiffany, good to see you. Tiffany, Katherine's cousin. Nice to meet you. Good to see you on here as well.
I love you, cuz.
Anna Farrell, good to see you on here. Silas, what's going on, brother? Julie Hardman. Got a big, beautiful family who comes on here every night, man. I love these people. Love you guys to death, man. You guys are amazing people doing amazing things with your life. You know, if nobody's told you yet this week, I know it's early, how proud of you they truly are. Let Katherine and I be the first to tell you how proud we truly are of you guys. You guys are killing the game. You guys are setting that bar really high, really high. You know, you guys are killing it. I love you all very much. And so here we are. Here we are, Katherine. You know, you mentioned to me about a week ago, like I said, that you wanted to talk about guilt and shame because you're right. You know, and I have to agree with you. It's a huge roadblock into ever making recovery work for your life.
Right.
It absolutely is. You know, and I'm gonna go back to my active addiction for a few minutes. Okay. I remember vividly many nights, you know, leading into me coming into recovery, maybe the last 6 months of my active addiction. You know, the guilt and the shame hit me like a ton of bricks. You know, I'm a father of beautiful daughters and sons, you know, and I neglected my children because of my drugs. You know, I chose my drugs over my kids every single time, you know, and finally, after so many years of that, it just finally hit me like a ton of bricks. But then, you know, I finally make this transition into recovery, Katherine, and it followed with me. It followed with me. You know, when I no longer was able to mask it, because we all know how I feel about the word numb, when I was no longer able to mask that pain because I had finally quit using the drugs and alcohol, now I'm able to feel absolutely everything, and it hit me like a Mack truck. It hit me like a Mack truck, you know, and I was like, oh my God, you know, and there was many times in my first 2 weeks of recovery, Katherine, where I told myself, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. I'm running away from this. And then we all know we are all runners when it comes to dealing with our feelings and emotions. Okay. Guilt and shame to me today, I have to say, is a huge deterrent. It's a liar, actually. You know, guilt for me, in my own opinion, Katherine, you can agree with me or you can not agree with me. Like I said, we don't agree very much, but you know, you can agree with me or not. I think the disease of addiction latches on to guilt. I think it latches on to guilt because it wants you to feel less than zero. It doesn't want you to believe in yourself. It doesn't want you to believe that you know that you can arrest it, that you can lock this disease away, and that you can have a meaningful life without drugs and alcohol in it. My opinion and my opinion only. You can agree with me or not. You know, I don't know where you were at, Katherine, when you were when you know when you asked me to do this video. What are you thinking? You know, I know guilt and shame played a huge part in your early recovery as well, because we've talked about this on numerous occasions.
So, with me personally, guilt and shame kept me trapped. It kept me trapped in my disease for a long time. It was my excuse, you know, like all the guilt and shame over my daughters being adopted, and then the guilt and shame over the fact that I was completely detached from them. I didn't know how to feel those feelings of actually not having them in my life anymore or even being involved. And so with that said, I just used that guilt and shame as my excuse. That was my alibi. Like, here you go. I can do it because this is how I feel inside. So this is one way that I don't have to feel those feelings, you know? And then when I first got clean, the first time, my first attempt at recovery, I allowed guilt and shame to take me back out because I didn't work on those issues. I didn't even approach them. I didn't even look into them. I just was like, I'm just going to stay away from drugs and alcohol. I'm not going to work on anything, you know? And then as I got clean this time and I started working my steps and feeling those feelings and working through that process, I started to realize like everything that kept me stuck, all those feelings that kept my not being enough or allowing my children to be adopted or not being a mother, period, all that stuff that really it was of not knowing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I didn't know how to do those things. I started using drugs so young in age, you know, I mean, I started smoking weed at 8 and I started shooting meth at 12. So it's like all those years, I didn't know how to be anything better. So how else am I supposed to feel but trapped? You know, and thank God for the steps, right? That I can process through everything. I can start to eliminate those or that forgiveness of myself. Because that's the hardest thing, you know. I remember the first time I did my steps and my sponsor's like, where are you on this? Why aren't you on your in here? You know, you need to forgive yourself, and that's how you can get past everything.
Absolutely. A lot of people, fail to realize, we're feeling guilty about the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guilt in the past, they go together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what we all know, unless Catherine has a time machine or unless I've built a time machine, there's nothing
Did
that any
you?
one of us, I didn't. I'm not that smart. Truly, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that any one of us can do and go back and change what is already done. What is done is done, and as hard as it is to lay that to rest or kind of put that to bed, you ultimately really don't have a choice. I take that back. You do. You do have a choice. You can carry it with you and you can stay sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the alternative. Or you can do like I said a minute ago, and you could put this to rest. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
put this to bed because the person that I am today is not the person that I am yesterday. If you knew me yesterday, you don't know me today because I change daily.
Yeah.
Okay, I change daily, and I am focused today on this very day. And if I did something yesterday that's making me feel guilty today, as long as I'm putting it to bed, and I got to do that quickly. I can't carry this with me. See, guilt and shame, if we carry that with us, that makes us feel absolutely disgusting, sick, and it is a gut wrenching, and it will take you out
Yeah.
just as fast as any resentment.
Mm-hmm.
You hear people saying that resentment's the number one killer, but I'm telling you right now, guilt and shame will take you out just as fast as that.
Yeah. Right.
It's how we deal with guilt and shame, though. There's a process, and there's a right way to do this. And you and I both work a 12-step program. That's how we found that we could deal with this. And we had to implement something in our life, a power greater than ourselves, right? For me and you, I know you personally. So for me and you, it was none other than God.
Right.
Okay, we had to have God, and we had to have His direction. We had to have the 12 steps, their direction, that guidance, that nurturing, that love. I swear, the 12 steps is a foundation of love.
It
It
is.
is. It is a foundation of love because what it is, and it's a discovery. Okay, what the 12 steps have done for me in the last 4 years, I could have never figured out on my own on the previous 42.
Mm-hmm.
So there's where I'm at with it when it comes to working a program. When it comes to processing guilt, when it comes to processing shame. You know what? A lot of us did a lot of bad things, and we all neglected our children. A lot of the guilt that any addict or alcoholic deals with in recovery is because how they treated their children in their active addiction, or because how they treated the people that they loved the most in their active addiction. Well, this news flash. Here's a news flash. You aren't those people today.
Yeah.
Carrying that guilt into your today is detrimental. It's you're gonna have to leave it. You're gonna have to put it to rest.
Right. And I mean, I can only speak from experience. I know that, like, if you don't deal with whatever is weighing you down, such as guilt and shame, resentments, whatever that may be weighing you down, it is true. You go back out. Me personally, I did. I allowed it to take me back out because I didn't work on self. I say it all the time to people, like, if you're not working on, like, if I'm not focusing on Katherine and I'm focusing on somebody else, that's obviously showing that I'm neglecting something in myself, right? If I'm always here judging and talking about, there's something that I have lacking, there's something that I'm not being fulfilled in myself, and that's why I'm talking about that person, or that's why I'm feeling that way towards that person. And that's what's so amazing about the 12 steps, and being able to take a look at that and be like, that's not my inventory. Why am I taking it?
Right.
Or that's not my responsibility. That's not something I have to hold on to. That's not my responsibility. That's not even my business. And guilt and shame, like, I know my kid, guilt and shame behind my daughters. Is one of my biggest area. Having two daughters that got adopted because I couldn't get my act together and I couldn't keep the needle out of my arm, or I couldn't stay out of prison long enough to even be a mother. But then, I mean, that happening, yeah, it was, it hurt me, later when I processed it. But at the moment, the real guilt that comes into play is when I think about this to myself. At the moment, I was like, yes, I don't have any more responsibilities. I don't have to be that mother now. They are gone and they're in the system, and I don't have to do that. And like, when I
It's
think
a,
about it today, I'm like, wow, how could you, as a mother, how could you do that? How could you honestly think that? Like, That's crazy because now I don't feel anything but that longing and that loss of not being that mother,
Mm-hmm.
and not being there for them,
That's so
but that's
true.
something that I had to process through.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that. It takes
Mm.
it takes a strong person to admit, hey, I don't have to worry about my kids anymore. I don't need that responsibility. And I was the same way when I lost my girls. All right, well, I guess that's more time to get high and not to deal with like having to go home and deal with my kids and all that. That's real. That's real. And a lot of people who are watching tonight can agree with that. That's as sickening as that is to have to admit. That's the kind of people we used to be. Okay. And when you think about it, and if it doesn't hit you in your gut, then that tells you something as well. I had a lot of guilt as well, Catherine, not only on how I treated or neglected my children or neglected the people that love me the most. I had a lot of guilt when it came to the potential that I squandered
Yeah.
in the 25 years. My dad always told me, and from a very young age, he said, the worst thing that anybody can do is squander their potential.
Yeah.
Squander, and I did. And I remember vividly in my mind, time and time and time and time again, in my active addiction, hearing my dad's voice saying, "You're wasting your potential." Because I had plans with my life. I had plans. I was going to, and this is people might find this funny, but I was going to go to West Point. I was going to have a military career. I was going to go on and be an officer in the military and just have this. And I had forecasted this great military career, and I pissed it off. I
Mm-hmm.
pissed it off. I squandered it, and my dad was right. I wasted my potential. I
Mm-hmm.
did. Thank God, and with His saving grace, that I'm able to get this chance again at life. And I had more than just one second chance. I had a million second chances. Okay, thank God He let me live through absolutely every one of them. And so I'm here
Mm-hmm.
today. But that was a huge part of my guilt as well that I carried with me into my recovery was the potential that I squandered for the previous quarter of a century.
Right. I can relate too. I mean, I had plans, I had goals, I had dreams. I wanted to be a nurse, and that was like my biggest thing. Like I wanted to be a nurse, and because I'm that type of person, I'm a very nurturing person. I love and I want to take care of people. And I could have did that, but I chose to keep going down that same path and doing that same thing. And that now today it really gets to me because I'm like, I could be making this decent amount of money all the time. I could be completely set in my life. I could have all these positive things going for me, but I can't allow that guilt and that shame to keep me in those feelings because I have to recognize what I do have going for me today. You know what I mean? I do have a good job. You know, I do have a relationship with my children today. I do have, um, I'm working towards some of the goals that I've set for my life. And if I stayed stuck in the guilt and shame and I stayed trapped in that same vicious cycle of, I hate to say it, but also kind of poor me, poor, pitiful me. I messed up. I did all this. Look at what's happening to me. That victim mentality, then I wouldn't have anything in life. I'd still be in prison for reals.
Mm,
I would be on my way back to prison.
right. I this is where I want to throw this in here. And if anybody didn't realize, or if anybody didn't know, um, it's never been our plan. Okay, this thing called life has never been our plan.
Really.
It's always been God's plan. Okay, and God gave each and every one of you this life because He knew you were strong enough to live it. I had to go through all those hardships and those trials and tribulations in order for this man to finally show up and show out. Okay,
Absolutely.
and every one of you who are watching this video tonight, you have to remind yourself. Okay, I went through it. It sucks. I'm feeling it now because when we don't do drugs and get and drink anymore, we're able to feel, and a lot of times those feelings can be very overwhelming. Especially in early recovery. And I tell you what, my early recovery sucked really bad. You're not unique in that struggle either. And if you manage to, and if the only thing that you haven't done today was not used, then that's a win. That's a win.
Yeah.
So I'm over here in recovery now, and I'm dealing with guilt, uh, and I had to have somebody help me along with this. Okay, I couldn't do this by myself. Okay, dealing with it. If we're dealing with guilt and we're not having somebody help us along our way, what we're going to do with it is we're going to try to bury it again. Okay, we're going to try to bury it again. And as we all know, the body that we live in is a pressure cooker. Okay, we can only stuff so much for so long. Okay, and then when it finally blows, it's coming, and you're gonna be it's dangerous. It could be potentially deadly because you're probably gonna go back out. Okay, because you got an addict mind, and you have a disease in your brain that tells you, okay, enough is enough. It's time to go back and get high again.
Some people sometimes think when it comes to like the disease of addiction that like you get into recovery and everything is just going to be all peaches and cream. It's going to be, this perfect life and you're not going to have to deal with anything. But life shows up, you know what I mean? And not having the right tools to deal with life, then it's going to take you back out. Like it's going to keep you stagnant and trapped and not feeling that you're doing anything, that my disease is so live. Like I have almost 4 years clean and my disease still comes in my head. Like you are not doing anything. You think you're doing something. You're just like before we started this live. I'm like, I don't want to do it no more. Like I'm not good enough to do it. That's my disease. Right. And so not learning how to process and cope and deal with certain things in your life, it's just going to take you right back out there.
I've struggled with guilt a lot in my recovery, guys. I'm no different than anybody who's watching this video, guys. You guys have heard me say a million times, I am one of you. Okay. I'm just like you guys. I'm just trying to get another day. Okay. And I had a lot of guilt coming into recovery for the fact that I made it out. I made it, I made it. And when so many others have not made it. You're paused.
No, I'm gonna pause. I don't know why.
You're screaming. You were stuck. You were
Am I still stuck?
No, you're good now. I have, coming into recovery, I made it out. And when so many of my friends that I've been using with for so many years, did not. And some of those people are not here today. And I dealt with the guilt. What made me so special finally in being able to make recovery work, and why so many beautiful people don't get to make it or don't make it. What makes but I have very quickly had to remind myself that's not for me to carry. Okay. You got to remind yourself, if you're feeling guilty about certain things, is it truly yours to carry?
Yeah. I have to think too, like you were saying, like I have to look at what is going inside myself. So if I'm say something pops up and I'm feeling like that guilt or that heavy burden feeling, like I have to think about like, what am I not working on? Like, what am I not willing to look at? Like what exactly is making me feel this way? And so I sometimes have throughout the day. And if I wrong anyone, I have to apologize, say my prayer and do that stuff. But looking at what is holding you back or making you feel that way, because sometimes people don't even realize it's guilt or shame that is making them feel that way. Like they don't realize that, it's something, it could have been something as easy as happened like 15, 20 years ago. And you're just barely starting to feel the feelings because you've masked so much stuff for so long, kept yourself trapped, and you haven't faced anything, and that's one of the biggest things.
Perfect. You hit that nail right on the head right there. Perfect. You haven't faced and dealt with anything yet. When you're able to finally stand there and deal with the things the underlying issues that are maybe originally drew you into an active addiction, and a lot of the things that you dealt with during your active addiction on let's not get this twisted, probably on your own accord. We got to own our stuff today, right? We got to own it. Okay. Own the fact that, yes, I did that. Okay. When you own it, it takes it away from you. Okay, I own it. Okay, yes, I neglected my children. Yes, I did. Absolutely, I sure did. I neglected my children during my active addiction. Okay, did it make me feel? Did it all go away? No, still dealing with a little guilt because of it, But it has no more bearing in my life. I'm able to finally move forward away from it. Okay, if I don't own it, it will always be dragging like that ball around my ankle. It's gonna come with me. I have to own it. I have to accept it. Ownership and acceptance, I believe, in recovery, they go hand in hand. Okay. You have to own, accept, and then move forward. Deal with it. And you know what? I don't think it's possible. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but I don't think it's possible to be able to fully move forward in your life away from guilt or shame without some sort of program, some sort of higher power in your life. I think, we need that structure in order to move away from all the devastation that our active addiction spilled into our life and into our lap on our own accord.
Right. Like with that being said, not dealing with stuff. Sometimes I just totally lost my train of thought. I had a really good point I was just going to say, but I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Drew. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know where you guys are at in your stage of recovery. I truly do not know where you're at. You could be 1 week, you could be 1 year, you could be 3 years, 5 years. I seen a question in the feed just a minute ago. It says, when the guilt and shame presents itself in your life today, Katherine and Drew, do you guys ever think about going back out? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because I have a self-worth about myself today. I know what I'm worth. Okay. I've dealt with a lot of the underlying issues like we were talking about earlier. I've dealt with those. And even though I'm going to experience guilt and I have a hard time believing I'll get away from all that guilt and shame, I won't. It's going to be there. Something might just pop up. So I might see something. I might even watch something on TV. Might just hit me some brain receptor and I start feeling guilty about, I used to be that way. Or I used to do that, but there's no amount of guilt, shame, or anything that presents itself in my life that I'm willing to ever go back out and get another one.
I'm the same. There's nothing I can see that any amount of guilt or shame that makes me entertain that thought of, Tori. She's like, Katie Bug, get it together.
I see her.
Sorry. I remember what I was going to say now, but, okay. No amount of guilt and shame that ever makes me look back that way to think, I have to surrender daily, to my feelings, to anything that I'm going through. And if I don't surrender, that's where that guilt and shame also come into play. Is by not surrendering, you're allowing that to control your life. You're allowing it to take its grips on you and just hold you down, like you were saying, that ball around your ankle, and it just keeps dragging you. And so me learning to pray and meditate and to take a look at my part in the situations. What part was I responsible for, and what part of it that I'm carrying that's not my responsibility, surrendering to it and letting it go, and I might have to surrender and let an issue go 1,000 times, and think I've had things come up that I thought I dealt with and I thought I'd processed enough. I thought I beat it into the ground with my sponsor, and it would come up again later on. Like, it's just because there's still parts inside you that you're not, it's not ever going to go anywhere. It's not ever going to completely go away. It's what you do with it when it happens. It's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really want to hit this point across too on this video tonight, Katherine, as well. I'm trying to get these people honest. I want to get them on. Get honest with yourself. Like I said, I could come out here and be honest with all of you each and every night, which I am. But if I'm not being honest to myself, then that's where it stops right there. It stops right there. Get honest with yourself. What part of the guilt that you're carrying did you partake in? What part did own your part in that? And because you're going to be surprised about how much guilt that you're truly carrying that really isn't yours to carry.
Yeah.
We carry so much stuff with us and we beat ourselves down on a daily basis, more than we should, I don't think we should be beating ourselves up, but we do. Okay. We can't get around that. We're going to get up here in our head. We're going to do that on a daily, but I have this ability today to get out of my head. Okay. And that comes with the program that I work with, the spiritual principles that back the program that work. It comes with my higher power, none other than God for me. It comes with the fellowship of recovery. All you beautiful people who come out here and tune in each and every night and watch me. It comes in so many different areas. It comes with that amazing man that I get to call sponsor, the man, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Victor. Without him, without Pastor Pat, without this fellowship of recovery, the 12 steps, I'd live up here. I'd unpack and I would just sit right down and just live up here in this head. And before you know it, I'm out there putting the needle back in my neck.
Yeah.
That's what would happen if I didn't have the things that I've put into my life.
Yeah. And that's what's so amazing about being creating a network, a group of people, that's, you talk about it all the time. Have at least 5 people that you can call no matter what. Like I have a list of people that I can call no matter what, but I have, 5 core people that I know that if I call them and I, am broken, beat down, whatever, going through emotions, beating myself up, feeling trapped, they're going to stop what they're doing and they are going to help me process through it. And being able to do that is what's helped me move past the guilt and shame. And it's helped me learn how to focus and work out why I'm feeling that way. I have so much guilt and shame when it comes to my children, so much. I carry the abuse that their father did. I carry the neglect for me not being a mother. I carry the fact that they were adopted, and now I carry the fact that my 19-year-old daughter, she wants to be a part of my life, but I still don't know how to deal with that. Like I still don't know exactly what kind of relationship we're going to be able to have, because it's been so many years and there's so much that's happened, but I just keep suiting up and showing up every single day, responding back to her, telling her I love her, letting her know I'm always here, no matter what. And that is another way for healing for me, right? Letting them know that we are here to love, support, and be there for them. It helps heal you inside too, especially if they're receptive.
Yeah.
I thought for years that my daughter would never. I always knew she'd come looking for me because she knew me. She knew who I was. She was
Right.
older, a little bit older than the youngest one, but I never thought she'd want to have a relationship with me, because who would want to have a relationship with someone that just basically said, forget you, I'm going to get high, like I don't know if I would be that as forgiving as she is, towards me. And that's another way that I'm able to process the guilt and shame when it comes to them.
As much guilt as people as we all carry with us, it does not take away from the fact that each and every one of you are beautiful and strong people.
Absolutely.
It does not take that from you. We're going to deal with guilt. It is a given because we all have dealt with it, and some of you may be dealing with it today. It's a given that guilt plays a huge role in recovery. It does
Absolutely.
not take away from the fact of how amazing and beautiful and strong each and every one of you truly are. I need you to get honest. And I need you to get honest with yourself. Okay? Because that's where it starts with the 3 principles, foundation in the program I work are honest, open-minded, and willingness. Okay? The very first thing they say is get honest. And they're not talking about get honest with your neighbor. They're talking about getting honest with yourself. The guilt that you carry, is it really yours to carry? If it is yours to carry, and if you played a huge part in the guilt that you're carrying, all right, then handle it. Handle your business. Process it, deal with it. Pray on it. If I hope each and every one of you do work a program. If you don't, I highly recommend get in a program, because if you're not working some sort of program with the guilt and shame, it's gonna stick with you. You have no outlet. You have no way to process it. It's going to stay with you. It's like I said earlier, it's going to be that ball and chain. You will carry this around with you the rest of your life. And I don't know about you, Katherine. I don't want to carry that guilt and shame no more. Okay. Like you said, I was willing to surrender. And in surrendering to this program, and I was able to give it, and a lot of my guilt that I carried, I give to God. I'm gonna throw that G thing in here. I do every video. I give a lot of the guilt, that my actions, my past actions, I pray on it and I give it to God. Because in His eyes, I've been forgiven.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why He died on the cross to forgive us for our sins, right? But holding on to that weight that, people don't even realize how much freedom you get when you actually finally become willing and you become open and you become honest. Like I remember when I first got into recovery and I'm like, I, asked somebody to be my sponsor and I was, trying to do whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute, you want me to unload all the stuff that I've done in my life to you, to let to tell you. And me with my trust issues, I have humongous trust issues, and I'm like, yeah, this person's going to go and blab all my business around all of Narcotics Anonymous, like they're going to go and tell everybody in the room, which already everybody in the room already knew because they knew me personally, but that that trusting came into play, like learning that you have to be able to trust. So my first step was I told her some outlandish story, right? She knows now, but I told her some outlandish story, and just to see like if anybody else mentioned it to me about that, like that I did something way out there that I totally would never do. And she didn't. And so that gave me that in to just, okay, well, maybe I'm able to trust her. So that's where I became open and willing, and then I became honest, and becoming honest, completely honest with anything and everything you did is so freeing. Like, you don't even understand seeing that on paper, seeing like, I remember the first time I looked at my 4-step and I was just like, this is such an ugly person, you know, this this person is so ugly, because that's not how I looked at myself, really, right? But
Right.
seeing it, I was like, God. But then I also was able to see this person is broken.
Right.
This person is hurt and has been destroyed, like emotionally, physically, and mentally. And so I was able to recognize what has kept me that way and work past it. And that's what is so amazing about, the fellowship the program we work, is just being able to see it, just see it. And sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's sickening, and you just feel like, God, how could I have done that? But you're able to move past it,
You gotta, I think willingness plays a huge part in the process of guilt. Okay, you got to be willing to move past it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not willing to move past it, or if you, and that's to me was the hardest part. I wasn't willing to move past the guilt because I had looked at myself as less than zero. I didn't believe that I was worth forgiveness. I believed that I
Mm-hmm.
should have, after what I had done to my children for all those years, I deserved that guilt. I deserved the fact that I had to carry that with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I know the truth today, and I know the truth. That's a lie. I don't have to carry that with me the rest of my life, because I wouldn't have been able to focus on what I needed to focus on, build myself into the man that I've always wanted to be, if I had carried it with me this whole entire time. I have let go of so much guilt because of the 12 steps, in the process. When I first seen my first inventory, my first 4-step, crazy, crazy. I mean, I'm looking down at that paper, like you said, I'm looking down at this paper and I'm thinking this guy should be locked away for the rest of his life. This is a freaking monster. This is Hannibal Lecter. This is this is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at Hannibal Lecter's inventory right now. That's the way I seen that, and that right there in itself was enough to knock the wind out of me. Okay, I don't want to be that guy no more. And whatever I have to do, and whether I know I got to be willing, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to have to push through a lot of fear, because dealing with guilt, processing guilt, there's a huge fear factor involved. Okay. We're scared to put ourselves in vulnerable situations. We don't want to get uncomfortable. We want to stay comfortable. We want to stay in our little comfort zone. We don't want to step out, fear of being exposed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happens when you get honest. You are exposed. You are exposed. But you know what? If you get honest with it and you own it,
Mm-hmm.
people can throw it in your face anymore, but all you have to do is say, I've owned that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss me with that.
I mean, I've had people throw things that I've already processed through in my life, like in my face, like, oh, you were this way, or you were that way, or you did this, or you did. And I'm like, I did do that. I was that person, but I'm not that person today. It doesn't matter what anybody says that, like you were saying earlier, that I did yesterday. I am not that same person today, and I'm not going to be the same person tomorrow, because I'm growing, I'm changing, I'm healing, and I'm moving on. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not doing anything like that, like you're saying, we have that fear of being exposed. Like, once you do your 4-step and you start to like put all that guilt and shame out there and everything, like, you're raw, you're open, you're vulnerable, and but then that's why there's a process. You have to go through everything to get the healing at the end. People sometimes think, oh, I said everything, I put it out there, and this is what happened, but I'm still in pain, or I'm still feeling this, or I'm still, it's not like recovery is not a magic pill you can take and everything disappears and goes away. It takes time just as long the time you were in your addiction and you were creating that guilt and shame and you're creating all that baggage and you're bringing everything in with you, it takes just as long back to get it all out there and to heal from it and move on. I'm still healing. I'm like almost 4 years in. I'm still healing from a lot of stuff that I did because I've hurt a lot of people, but the most of all, the person I hurt the most was myself, like I I destroyed myself. Literally. I didn't need anybody else to destroy me. I was doing it myself. I was tearing myself down. I, I wasn't, in my mind, I wasn't worthy to even breathe air. Like I wasn't worthy, I attempted suicide several times in my addiction due to guilt and shame. I OD'd, and 90% of the time I think when I OD'd was guilt and shame. Like I knew what I was doing.
Right. And every one of us process guilt differently, but it's dangerous and it's how some people process it. I want everybody to get away from, that kind of processing, taking it to the point where you're not dealing with it. Okay.
Yeah.
If you leave it with you and don't handle it and deal with it, there's where it's dangerous. I believe, because we're going to be an addict and we're going to do this stuff away, mask it, cover it up, as long it's like, let me give an example. It's like sweeping things under the rug. Yeah. The dirt's still there. Okay, you just covered it up with the doormat. Okay, the dirt's still there. You pick that doormat off, it's still dirt, big pile of dirt that you just swept underneath there. It doesn't just magically disappear. Okay, yeah. It only goes away when you handle it and own it and accept it and push forward from it. And you have to understand, guys, handle your business. Handle your business. I want to just shake everybody. Handle your business. I truly do. It's easy for me to say that because I used to be in early recovery and I didn't want to deal with my stuff. You're crazy. Like you said earlier about your sponsor, Victor sat me down for one of the first or second time he sat me down. He's like, all right, you're going to have to get honest with me. I'm like, I ain't telling you crap, bro. I don't even know you that well for me to tell you that. For me, we all deal with a lot of guilt, a lot of trust issues because of how our life played out and how our active addiction affected us. But let me tell you, I seen something, and if you know anybody who has any kind of clean time at all, I'm talking years of clean time, they have a different aura about them. Okay, that you can feel their energy. And I was sitting with him, I knew he had something that I wanted. I hear these words saying, get honest with me, Drew, but I feel the energy coming from him.
Yeah.
Okay. That energy is what I wanted. I didn't like his words necessarily, but I love this energy. And I told myself, if that's how he acquired that kind of energy, by being honest, then that's exactly what I'm willing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like honesty was the hardest thing for me at first because I'm like, why would I want to be honest with anybody about anything? Because I was such a horrible person, right? And they're just going to run and they're going to tell everybody my business. And I remember when I asked the lady that's my sponsor the first time she met my sponsor, I was like, because I was in prison with her before, like my first term, and I've known her for a long time, and I'm like, but she's just gonna judge me. She's so much different from me. I'm just getting out of prison, and she's got her life together, or whatever. But she's had something I wanted. She had that peace in herself. She didn't have that always stressed look on her face or always feeling like something was about to take her over, and that's how I felt all the time. And being able to meet her, get involved with her and start working past that, I started to get that. I started to get that inner peace. She was able to show me, well, this is what worked for me. You can, and it was never like, this is what you have to do. It was always about, this is what works for me. And if it, you take it or leave it. And that's what I try to do the same when people reach out to me and they ask me for their help on any type of situation. I always have to say, this is what works for me. It might not work for you. What works for me might not work for you, but here's a suggestion. And then you can turn it and manipulate it and make it into a way that it will fit your life, and that's the number one thing. It's that willingness again.
There we go. It's willingness. You know, this is an amazing topic, and we could probably go on and talk about guilt and shame for 2 weeks straight. You know, it's a huge part of people in early recovery process because we carry so much of it with us from our active addiction. You know, you have any more points you want to hit across before we end this one, Catherine?
Good, I'm good.
You want to say anything to these beautiful people before you get off here, Catherine?
Just know that I love you guys, and you know, like I say every time in the feed, my messenger is always open. You know, send me a friend request, send me a message, whatever you want to do. I'm always here. You know, I will always love, support, and encourage you to my best ability. You know, I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm human. I make mistakes. You know, but I'm here. You know, just never hesitate to reach out to me. And I love you all.
And she means it. She does. She loves you all. You know, she's a huge part of my team, the dream team. We got them all. I think everybody's on here tonight, but Jill's at work. Tori's on here. Joseph's on here. Catherine's here. I'm here. I appreciate you coming on and doing this video with me, Catherine. You know, it's a big one. You know, and a lot of us struggle with guilt. It's a real thing. And if we try to run from it, it's gonna, like I said, we're gonna carry it with us. We can't get around it unless we go through it. So I appreciate you coming on. Love you.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I will be in touch as soon as I get done with this video.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, guys.
All right, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, I hope this video helped any one of you in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, every video that I do, you take what works for you out away from the video and apply it to your life. You know, and then leave the rest. And like Catherine mentioned earlier, you know, not everything works for everyone. That's why we are unique. That's why we are individuals. That's why there's many paths to recovery. Not every one of our paths are going to be the same. Not every one of our paths are going to be, you know, we're not all going to be working the same stuff. We all got different things going on. We all have different circumstances and situations that are going on in our lives. So, you know, understand that, you know, guilt's a real thing. But as long as you're not handling it and dealing with it, it will come and it will follow you. You will drag this around the rest of your life. Get honest with yourself. You'll be surprised. I promise you, getting honest with yourself, you're going to realize, you know, a lot of the guilt that you truly are carrying is not even yours to carry. You know, when I got clean on all the guilt that I carried with me, over half of what I thought was mine to carry truly wasn't. I appreciate you guys all for being here tonight. I love absolutely every one of you guys. Do me and Catherine a favor and let's get this video out there because guilt is a huge deterrent in recovery. And if we're not processing it and if we're not dealing with it, then it's going to take you back out. It's going to take you back out. I love you all so much. I appreciate you guys so much. Let me give a few shout outs and I will get out of your way and let you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. I shall return tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you all very much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Throw some hearts up for Catherine for coming out here and getting vulnerable. She's getting better. Catherine, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And I love you dearly. Let's see here. Billy Durham. Thank you for being here. Hey, Christy Johnson. Ann Sanchez. Thank you. Amber Goings, I love you. Deborah Kirk. Honesty's a bigger good one. Thank you for being here, Deborah. Jason Campbell, you're welcome, brother. Thank you for showing up tonight. Sue Knight, I love you, sister. Kelly Suda, I love you. Let's see here. Let me scroll back here on the phone, see if I miss anybody. You guys are amazing. I love you guys so much. I am here for each and every one of you guys. Do not hesitate. Do not be scared to reach out. That's why I've built these platforms. That's why I'm here. That's why God put me on this earth. You know, so utilize the resources and the people that you have available to you who are willing to help you along your way. Amanda Carmichael. Carmany. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. Amanda Cruz, I love you. Christine Jameson. Thank you for being here tonight. Tori Russ, love your face. Love your face. Joseph, I love you, little brother. Mary Mayer, I love you. You guys are all amazing. You guys are all beautiful people. And you know what? Tomorrow you're going to wake up another day blessed. Blessed to be clean and sober. You know, say your prayers, do your meditation, start your day, wake up with that attitude of gratitude, because we got to carry that gratitude with us, because by all rights, so many of us shouldn't be here today, but we are given a second, 50th, millionth chance by God's saving grace. And you know what? I'm not squandering this anymore. I've pissed off a majority of my life. And for what? And for what? To have a story of pain, a story of struggle. I have a message. I've turned my mess into a message, and I hope it's touched each and every one of your hearts. I love you all so very much. I will see you guys tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do me a favor, get this video out. With all that being said, I love you. You already know. Clean and sober. That's what's up.